Marvel just keeps shaking things up, and the latest update is a wild one. Not long ago, Benedict Cumberbatch confidently told fans he'd be back as Doctor Strange in Avengers 5, even teasing a possible crossover with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. But now, in a complete twist, he's saying Strange has been written out of Doomsday entirely. Instead, the plan is for him to have a massive role in Secret Wars. That instantly sparks a bigger question. Does this mean we're getting Doctor Strange 3 before Secret Wars? Cumberbatch finally opened up about the character's future. In a new Variety interview promoting his other projects, he confirmed that a third Doctor Strange film is officially in development. He explained that Marvel is currently figuring out which comic arcs to adapt, deciding what parts of Strange's lore should be explored to keep the character evolving. In another interview with TV Magazine, he went further, flat out confirming Strange won't appear in Avengers Doomsday. According to insiders, Avengers 5 went through a complete rewrite after Jonathan Majors' exit. In the new script, there just wasn't any space for Strange. But Secret Wars was reshaped to make him a central figure, so Cumberbatch isn't too bothered by the switch. It just means fans will have to wait a little longer for Doctor Strange 3. He also addressed those rumors about leaving the MCU, shutting them down quickly. He made it clear he's happy to stay, even admitting that his Marvel paychecks give him the freedom to produce smaller indie films on the side. Cumberbatch also got real about the franchise, saying blockbuster filmmaking originally felt restrictive, since everything is planned out down to the smallest detail. So where does that leave us now? 3 key takeaways. Doctor Strange 3 is officially on the way, though Cumberbatch isn't sharing spoilers just yet. Strange will stay at the center of Marvel's bigger storyline for years to come, and even after Secret Wars, the character's journey is far from over. As for Doomsday, the script went through a total reset in mid-2023, meaning all drafts written since 2022 were tossed. Originally, Jeff Loveness was writing it, with a version that featured the Council of Kangs fighting Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, and Moon Knight, setting up a very different Secret Wars. But after Quantumania's failure and Major's legal troubles, Marvel changed course. Kevin Feige pulled Loveness off the project and handed it to Michael Waldron, who wrote Loki. Waldron's version, worked on from late 2023 into summer 2024, fueled speculation that Doomsday would revolve around Sylvie, Mobius, and the TVA. That lined up with hints from Deadpool and Wolverine, where the TVA seemed to be recruiting heroes to defend the multiverse. That's likely why Cumberbatch initially thought Strange was part of it, but then the Russo brothers came in, rewrote everything, and cut Strange completely. But it tracks with the Russos' style. They left Ant-Man and Hawkeye out of Infinity War, only to make them huge players in Endgame. So what does this really mean for Strange? 2 possibilities. Either Doctor Strange 3 drops before Secret Wars, or Strange takes center stage in Secret Wars itself. And here's the exciting part. Cumberbatch's recent comments strongly hint that Doctor Strange 3 will finally dive into the dark dimension. Fans have been waiting for this ever since the first movie teased Dormammu's realm, and Multiverse of Madness only scratched the surface. Now, with Cumberbatch openly pointing in that direction, it looks more likely than ever that Doctor Strange 3 will fully explore the dark dimension, and that alone is enough to get fans hyped. If we look back at Doctor Strange's arc so far, it feels like Marvel's been carefully planting seeds for where his arc is headed. The first movie introduced the Dark Dimension and Dormammu, but Strange barely scratched the surface of what that realm really is. Multiverse of Madness doubled down on the cost of magic and left him with a third eye. Basically Marvel's way of saying that Strange is powerful, but now he's tapped into something way more dangerous than before. In the comics, it's tied to the Eye of Agamotto, giving Strange cosmic-level awareness and the ability to see through lies, magic, and even souls. But the MCU version seems tied directly to the Darkhold's corruption, which Wanda was struggling with throughout the Multiverse of Madness. If Strange is carrying a piece of that forbidden power inside him, then Doctor Strange 3 could really dive into the consequences of using magic that comes with a price. That's where Clea comes in. Charlize Theron showing up in the post-credits wasn't just a cameo, it was Marvel signaling the next major step in Strange's journey. Clea's not only Dormammu's niece in the comics, she's also a sorceress who eventually becomes Strange's partner and even takes on the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme herself. Her arrival is basically Marvel opening the door to a Strange-led storyline in the Dark Dimension. So what could Doctor Strange 3 look like? Movie could explore Strange's growing connection to the dark dimension, with Clea acting as both an ally and a guide. They might even tackle Dormammu again, but in a way that's more personal than the time loop trick from the first film. The third eye suggests Strange may slowly lose control, almost like a magical addiction storyline, similar to how Tony Stark's tech obsession kept pushing him to the edge. And if Strange is struggling with corruption, Marvel could really set up some emotional stakes for Secret Wars. Imagine a Doctor Strange who isn't fully trusted by the Avengers, but who also might be the only one capable of navigating the chaos of the multiverse. On top of that, producer Richie Palmer and screenwriter Michael Waldron have both teased that Strange's role in the MCU is only getting bigger. Waldron even hinted that Strange could end up being the anchor of Marvel's next sagas, the way Iron Man was for the Infinity Saga. That tracks perfectly with Cumberbatch saying Strange is here to stay long term. Steven started as the guy who needed control. Brilliant hands, perfect outcomes, zero humility. The first movie smashed that ego and replaced it with responsibility, but it also introduced the bill he keeps dodging. There's always a cost. Multiverse of Madness pushed the theme from responsibility to consequence. That makes Strange the guy who broke something and now has to fix it at scale. If Marvel wants one character to be the bridge from the magical world to Secret Wars, that's your bridge. Here's how a third movie lands all of this while giving Strange an arc that actually changes him. Act 1 starts with Strange pretending he's fine. He's back in New York, the Eye Amulet is a relic without the Time Stone, Wong is still Sorcerer Supreme, and America Chavez is training at Camartage. The third eye keeps pulsing at the edges of his reality, little flickers of unnatural geometry and whispers of things that don't belong in our plane. He can ignore it or use it, because Steven always reaches for the tool that solves the problem right now, even if it creates a bigger one tomorrow. This is where the film earns the ending. Strange and Clea dive into the Dark Dimension core to cauterize the incursion. The only way to stitch the planes cleanly is through faultine energy, the same primordial fire Dormammu wields. To channel it safely, Strange has to stop using the third eye as a control switch and start using it as acceptance, hyper-awareness without domination. He surrenders the need to force the perfect outcome and trusts the people around him to hold the line. Wong keeps Camartage from collapsing. America finesses the edges of the tear. Clea bargains, not for a truce, but for legitimacy. She's staking a claim that isn't built on Dormammu's old tyranny. It's messy, political, and personal. All of that tees up Secret Wars without spoiling it. Strange walks into that story not as the guy who looks at 14 million timelines and picks one, but as the multiversal custodian who understands why timelines collapse, how incursions breed empires like Doom's, and what it costs to stitch anything back together. Cumberbatch has been clear he's in for the long haul, producers have framed Strange as central to the saga, and the cast keeps hinting that the magic corner is expanding. Make Doctor Strange 3 the movie where he finally stops outsmarting the universe and starts stewarding it. That's the only version where the third eye isn't a curse, it's the wisdom he bled for.